There are 5 big changes that are coming to food stamps in 2026. And here is the truth: it is going to affect all 41 million people that are currently on food stamps. In fact, the changes that are being implemented by the Trump administration are the biggest cuts to SNAP in 50 years. And there are also individual tweaks to the program that are going to impact seniors, veterans, children, and people on disability benefits. I want to make sure that I bring you all these details so that you are prepared to not only comply with these new rules, but also save your food stamp benefits. This is very critical. Unlike any other year, I've been doing this for 15 years. I have never seen so many changes affect food stamps in my history of covering this topic. So stay with me till the end of this video. I am going to explain in detail how these changes are going to impact you and your benefits. My name is Kwame Kwade. I am a government benefits expert. For 15 years, I've been helping seniors get the retirement benefits they deserve. I create content on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and other personal finance topics that affect seniors and their benefits. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. I am glad you're here. Do me a quick favor, go into the comments and let me know your city and your state. If you've been watching this channel for a while, welcome back. I am glad you're here. Thank you for your continued support. We have a ton to cover today, so stay with me till to the end of this video. You're going to get some very critical information that is going to be helpful to you and help you save your SNAP benefits. Now, you may know people who are on SNAP, and this is also helpful information for you to pass along to them. So let's get started. Change number 1 is how much benefits are you going to receive? Well, this year, going in 2026, the maximum food stamp benefit is going to be $298 for a single person. Now, I am saying maximum. The average food stamp benefit is $188. But for a lot of seniors, the average food stamp benefit is much lower. It is because the USDA income limit for seniors, even though it's much more generous, knocks a lot of seniors off because they're on Social Security and their income is considered too high. And so if you're a senior citizen and you're getting $23, it is because the government thinks you make too much money to be eligible for food stamps. I know that is a ridiculous thing to even hear from me, but I'm just the news bearer and I don't agree with it, but that is the fact. But here is the point I'm trying to make. The maximum benefit is $298, and for a family of 4, it is $994. Now, here is one big change that is coming in 2026 that you need to be aware of. The big, beautiful bill that we all heard about that was supposed to do so many good things for seniors actually did a lot of disservice to food stamps and Medicaid. It cut deep into the food stamp program, it cut deep into the Medicaid program. And so one of the changes it did in food stamps was to slow down how much cost of living adjustment you're going to get going forward. So even though you are seeing this as the maximum benefit for $298, it is just an increase of $4. $4. It went from $294 to $298. So they have slowed down how much food stamps can increase. And it is because one of the changes that came in the big, beautiful bill is to look at the thrifty plan. The thrifty plan is how the government calculates what they estimate that people are spending out of pocket to buy food for consumption on a monthly basis. And so by changing the thrifty plan and making it less generous, they were able to slow down how much food stamp benefits increases you can get going forward. So that's one of the biggest changes that is going to impact the program. And I am not happy about that because that is going to cause a lot of pain to a lot of people who are on food stamps. But let me share with you what this Big Beautiful Bill Act did to the thrifty plan. As you can see, it says that these are the 7 or so changes that the big beautiful bill is making to food stamps benefit. And if you look at change number one, re-evaluation of the thrifty food plan. Now, what does that specifically mean? Well, I am going to share that with you very quickly. We're going to go to the USDA website, and then I'm going to share with you what that means. So here it is. It says that, I want to make sure you can see this. So it says that it amends Section 3 of the Food and Nutrition Act to revise how the thrifty plan is updated. It limits future re-evaluation from increasing the cost of the thrifty food plan. It also requires annual adjustment of the cost of the thrifty plan from October and reflect the consumer price index for all urban consumers published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is government speak for saying that during, I think during COVID, the USDA revised the thrifty plan and made it more generous because it had not been revised in a major way for a long time. And so they looked at current prices and realized that people receiving food stamps are barely getting by. And so they revived the thrifty plan to reflect current prices. That put a lot of money in the pockets of people receiving food stamps, not by a dramatic amount, but it did improve the amount of money you're going to get in food stamps. Well, during the big beautiful bill, they rolled all of that back. So now they've set the food stamp program back again, where you're going to see slow increments. Because here is the thing, there's always this belief in Congress that if you're receiving food stamps, you don't deserve it. And you should be thankful that the government is helping you. And so you can, you should be thankful for what you get and you should take what you get. And that is the attitude that is being used to revise the thrifty plan so that it cannot reflect the realistic cost of living and inflation that we're currently experiencing. It is going to reflect what the government thinks you should get. So that is the first change that is happening in food stamps. The second change is the income limit. The food stamps income limit is going up, and here is what is happening. So for well, that's not what I wanted to share. Let me bring that back. Okay, there we go. But before I get into that, if you want to stay on top of all these changes, anything in and out of Congress that is going to affect your benefits, your retirement, or your finances, text the word SNAP to 443-293-0080. You'll be added to my text list. You will join thousands of seniors that are receiving one or two text messages from me each week, letting you know of critical updates that you cannot miss. I want to be the first to bring it to you. The service is free and the benefits are tremendous. You will be updated on important information you should know. So text the word SNAP to 443-293-0080. The second change that is happening in food stamps is that the income limit is going up. And as you can see, for a family of one, your income limit gross is 1,696. And then your net income limit, which is after allowable deductions, is $1,305. For a family of four, that is 3,483, and your net income after allowable deduction is $2,680. What does this mean? It means that this is what you have to pay attention to. Do you qualify for food stamps? Well, you go to this income limit. So if you are on Social Security and let's say you are getting $1,800 in Social Security benefits, right? The government is going to tell you that you make too much money because you are above this. But seniors have a different income limit that is more generous. And so make sure that when they are reviewing your food stamps application, they are using the senior income limit because that is much higher than the income limit that you see on the screen, which is for the regular population. So that is one information that you have to keep in mind. The third change that is happening with food stamps is regarding the work requirement. And here, the changes could not be more dramatic. So let's take a look at it. But before I do that, I am going to go back to um, a summary of things that the big beautiful bill changed during, as part of the SNAP program. And the biggest one I'm talking about is the income limit. So let me pull up an article that explains, from the USDA's website. They have given indication of what, the income limit changes that are happening with the big beautiful bill. So here we are. It says It's a long one, but I'm going to tell you exactly what it says and highlight the essential parts. So this is the essential parts that I want to highlight for you right here. Right here. So you can see, I want to make sure that you can see that on my screen. Let me go back to the screen. Yes, you can see that. Okay. So what it is saying is that if you are on food stamps and you are a senior citizen, previously, if you are age 55 and above, you did not have to work in order to receive food stamp benefits. You were not required to meet the work requirement if you're an adult without children or dependents. Well, they are changing that limit right now from 55 to 65. So it means that if you're 65 or older, then you're exempt. But if you are 65, if you're younger than 65, it means that you're 64 and younger. Even if you're on Social Security, you still have to work in order to get food stamps, or you have to volunteer for 20 hours a week, or you have to be in an approved job training program in order to get food stamps. There are other limitations, and I want to share that with you. The other limit to the work requirement is that I think something happened to my screen. Let me go back. The other limit to the work requirement is that if you are a parent of children over age 14, you have to work or volunteer or be in an approved job training program to continue to get food stamps. It used to be 18. Now they've lowered it to 14. They want to force a lot more people to go to work in order to get SNAP for more than 3 months in any given 3 years. If you're homeless, it used to be that if you're homeless or you're a veteran, you are not required to comply with the work requirements. That has been removed. If you are a younger person that is aging out of foster care, you were not required to meet the work requirements. That is also being removed. So basically, they're forcing a whole bunch of people to have to work in order to continue to receive food stamp benefits. That is change number 3. And I want to make sure that you know that that is the most important change. That is how they are going to knock a lot of people off food stamps, because they're going to frustrate you with paperwork about work requirements, about you documenting that you are meeting the 3 work requirements. You're working, you're volunteering, or you are in an approved job training program, and you have to be very diligent in making sure that you preserve all your documentation, because they are going to try and use that to knock a lot of people off the food stamps program. And that is the biggest change I want you to think about, because that is happening. Change number 4 that is happening with the food stamps program that I want to make you aware of, which is important in deciding how much benefit that you are going to get and that you should be aware of, has to do with the ongoing threat by the president to deny food stamps to blue states versus red states. Now, you may think that this is not something that happens in America, but this is where we are right now. And so the president and the Secretary of Agriculture, the fourth change is that they are trying to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. And here's the thing, I am all for making sure that the food stamps program does not have fraud, waste, and abuse. But over 20 years under Democratic and Republican presidents, the Inspector General of the USDA, the person in charge of investigating and finding fraud, waste, and abuse, has released reports every single year saying that the food stamp program is one of the most efficient government programs in the country. Yes, you may hear all these things in the news, but the news only focus on the bad things, the few bad apples that happen. But the USDA Inspector General, year after year, has said that fraud in food stamps is less than 1%. Compared to other sectors of the government, for example, defense contracting. If you look at the fraud, waste, and abuse that happens in defense contracting, it will blow your mind. But they don't highlight that. They only highlight things that affects the poor, things that affect the low-income people, because they are easier to pick on, because they are not powerful lobbyists in Congress lobbying for those people. And so it's easy to make them the boogie person and always try to take something away from the poor and the low income people with the littlest excuse of fraud, waste, and abuse. Now, again, I want to be clear. If there's genuine fraud, waste, and abuse happening, I'm all for it. But so that brings me to change number 4. You are going to see a lot of start and stop things that are going to happen in 2026. And one is happening right now where the president has threatened to withhold food stamps from blue state governors, because the Trump administration asked for information from states, sensitive information from food stamps recipients, and the blue state governor said it is illegal. The information that the government is asking for is illegal. They went to court. The judge agreed with them that the request from the USDA is probably not legal. And so now the Trump administration has escalated this standoff with the Democratic states and is threatening to withhold food stamps from these states. And so, what does it mean for you? Well, if you live in one of these states, you should pay attention, because here is the list of states that are impacted. You can see here governors of states that have Democratic governors. That's what I mean. Arizona, California, Colorado, right? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland. That is the first part of the list. And then there is more. And I'm going to share that with you in a second once I can pull the other files for you. So here's the rest of the list: Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico. And what you see is the number of people on food stamps in those states. New York almost has 3 million people, right? Pennsylvania, almost 2 million. You look at Massachusetts, 1 million. We're talking big numbers. So, what does this mean if the president follows through with his threat? Well, it means that 53% of people receiving food stamps are going to be impacted. 22 million people are going to be denied benefits if this standoff continues. And we're talking big money, $4 million a month, $4 billion a month in food stamps that the president has threatened to take away from these governors. So that is the fourth biggest change that is happening to food stamps in 2025, 2026. All right. Now, the last change, which probably is equally important, is that the government now wants to force everybody who is currently on food stamps to reapply for your benefits, because they are trying to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. So they are going to make you reapply for your benefits. Even if you've gone through your redetermination, they are going to make you reapply again. And you're probably asking, why would they want to do that? Well, it is because it gives them an opportunity to reevaluate and deny more people food stamps benefits. So this is the fifth biggest change happening in 2026. It is going to cause the biggest disruption to the program. Trump administration will require SNAP participants to reapply for benefits. Let me read for you a little bit of what the Secretary of Agriculture is saying. Food aid recipients are already required to recertify their information regularly, but the move is part of the USDA Chief Brooke Rollis's effort to overhaul the program. And guess what? This is what she said, the agricultural secretary. Rawlings told Newsmax on Thursday that she plans to have everyone reapply for their benefits, make sure that everyone that's taking taxpayer-funded benefit through food stamps, that they are literally vulnerable and they can survive. They cannot survive without it. So now she wants to make sure that if you're on food stamps, she wants to be absolutely sure that you cannot survive without it. That phrase is very scary, because they now have to determine whether they think that you need food stamps or not. It doesn't matter that you qualify. It doesn't matter that you meet the work requirements. It doesn't matter that you meet the income limit. It doesn't matter that you're a citizen. It doesn't matter that you meet the resource requirement. It doesn't matter that you check all the eligibility boxes. Now they want to give you a gut check of whether they think you can survive without food stamps. And it's not going to be a procedure that's going to be transparent. It's going to be so arbitrary, because the program currently works. I don't know why they want to tinker with it. So I know it's all doom and gloom, guys, but it is my job to bring you the facts, and then help you prepare. So before I tell you how you can prepare for these changes so that you don't lose your food stamps benefits, I want to emphasize again that if you want to stay on top of all these changes, anything in and out of Congress that is going to affect your SNAP benefits, then text the word SNAP to 443-293-0080. You'll be added to my text list. You'll join thousands of seniors that are receiving one or two text messages from me each week informing you of critical information that you need to be aware of. So, here are three things you should do right now in order to get ahead of these changes that are happening with SNAP benefits. Change number one, make sure that you are documenting all your income and expenses because when they come back and ask you to reapply, you want to make sure that you're ready. Change number two, make sure that the food stamps department in your state has your current information, your current address, the number of people in your household, your current phone number and email, so that if they send you anything with a deadline, that you're not going to miss it. Because one of the ways they're going to deny a lot of people food stamps is to frustrate you with paperwork. And then change preparation number three. Do not do anything illegal. It is so critical at this point that you dot your I's and you cross your T's, that you don't bend the rules in any shape or form, because any small infraction, which previously would probably have been forgiven, now will be used as an excuse to take your benefits away. And if you're a senior citizen, if you're on disability benefits, if you're on Social Security, make sure that you are documenting everything. If you're on disability, documenting your illnesses, making sure that you are going through your redetermination process and getting all your paperwork in tow, because I think that they are going to target veterans and people on disability because they think that there's a lot of people who are on disability that shouldn't be on disability in the first place and shouldn't be on food stamps. So document, 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 because when they come and are asking questions, you don't want to be on the defensive. You want to provide all your documentation to show that you have everything buttoned up and you deserve the benefits that you're getting. So, guys, that is what I wanted to present to you today. One last thing I want to share with you is that it is still open enrollment for Medicare, and we have a few days. Today is the 3rd of December. We have 4 days before open enrollment is over. And a lot of you have been calling Chapter. I have recommended that you call Chapter Medicare, our partner, and get your benefits looked at before this open enrollment season is over. You'll be missing out on getting the best plan for you if you haven't done that. But here's the thing, a lot of you have taken my advice and have done that. And I want to share with you some of the feedback that I've received. Remember, I'm trying to help 100,000 seniors this open enrollment season get peace of mind about Medicare. And a lot of you have come back and shared your experience with Chapter. So first, I'm going to share the number for Chapter. They're open right now, all week. 539-205-2147. I'll put the information in the comments and in the description. But now let's go to some of the feedback that you guys have shared with me. Here is somebody that called Chapter, and here's what he has to say. Thank you for commenting this information. I reached out to the number and they found me such a better plan for 2026. I just wanted to say thank you for helping those of us who are out here trying to figure things out. Have a blessed night. That really, really warms my heart because this is what it's all about, right? I took your advice and called Chapter. I signed up for Cigna. I previously had Humana. This was a better plan for me with Cigna. I signed up 10 days ago. Thank you for helping me. And then I have another um I have another one here. Thank you very much for sharing your information with me. I called over the weekend and was able to register for a different Medicare Advantage plan that had all of my doctors covered and medications covered. And then here's another one. I just reviewed my Medicare with Chapter, and they told me that I was in the best plan for me already. So that is the whole point of me trying to help you, is that I want to make sure that you don't miss out this opportunity during this open enrollment to get in the best Medicare plan for you. So give Chapter a call today and get the necessary help you need to get your Medicare plan right the first time, so that come January, you know you have peace of mind that you have the best plan for you. So, guys, that is all I wanted to share with you today. If you like what you heard, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification button so that whenever I release videos, you'll be the first to know. Thank you for watching.